Hello, Barendipitous here with another video for the board game shelf, and here we have Aeon's End Legacy. So, I've described Legacy games a little bit in the Gloomhaven videos. Essentially, um, in Legacy board games, they tend to like have a narrative that continues on from game to game to game, and like a sort of like a campaign basically, and it often involves writing on like boards and cards, like putting stickers on, sometimes even tearing cards apart and like throwing them away or something because they're not part of your story anymore. But yeah, so this was one of these sort of gateway legacy games that my brother-in-law introduced us to. So my wife and I, we have played through the the legacy campaign of this essentially, and there is also some like some expansion stuff in here. That's what these unopened cards are. But yeah, basically it had a story deck, and just kind of like it gave you, and after you like read some of the story, it gives you some instructions, and says if you won the game, do this. If you lost the game, do this, and so on and so forth. Even if you lose a game, it's not game over. You still keep going, basically. And then let's see. Basically, after the campaign, you end up with your own unique version of Aeon's End, basically. So there are 4 characters, and what my wife and I decided to do, we decided to control 2 characters each. So that way we could have, if we only did one character each, then between the 2 of us, there would be like a couple of blank characters, and we didn't really want that. And so here we have, and these are the same characters front and back. It's just kind of like a male or female version of each of these, essentially. So let's see. I took. I'm pretty sure I took this one and this. Yeah. So my wife took these 2 characters, and I took these 2 characters. And throughout, you can choose like permanent upgrades. These are stickers, and we kind of like wrote down on them and things like that. Because here's what it starts with, basically. You just start with this, with a very standard starting hand and starting deck, standard breaches, and no extra abilities. But later on, you get extra abilities, and your breaches and your starting hand improves, and so on and so forth. There's even like on this one, one of these requirements for one of these charges has been covered up, so you don't have to. It only costs 5 instead of 6 charges, basically, as opposed to like this, right? And so basically, we ended up sort of like creating our own like unique versions of characters. I think some characters we focused on various things like being aggressive or healing, trying to make a really good balanced party with all of this. And yeah, I just fought from one nemesis to another. But yeah, this was the first one, the Maelstrom. I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is, from chapter 1. This came with a bunch of envelopes, and you open the envelopes when the story instructs you to do so, and you just kind of keep going from there, basically. So yeah, and then after all of that, you end up with again like unique characters that you've built throughout the campaign, and you can play with this like afterwards, and you have I can't remember if any of these. I think yeah, some of these cards we wrote on as well, like the name, and also like there's some stickers on some of these to enhance some of the cards. So yeah, that's a legacy game. You play through a campaign basically, and by the end of it, you will ideally have your own like unique version of that game. But yeah, it's really just Aeon's End in legacy form. That's pretty much the whole thing. And there was a really cool story about like exploring whether or not we should the conflict of whether or not we should be using the monsters abilities against them, kind of a little bit of that Lord of the Rings dilemma, right? Like why don't we use the enemy's weapon against them, kind of a thing. And so there's a bit of that going on. So yeah, if you're really interested in learning the story and all the hidden secrets of Aeon's End and a legacy and everything, either get the game if you are able to afford it and if you have enough interest, or I mean, I guess you can always look anything up online. But yeah, I like this a lot. This as well as Betrayal on the House of the Hill Legacy were my very first legacy games before, and that got me interested in other legacy games like Gloomhaven and so forth. So. Yeah, you can say that this is one of the games that kind of really got me and my wife interested in like, like board, like really like big table spanning board games, and kind of really helped kickstart like our board game collection in earnest, shall we say. So, but yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, all the best.